All right, so let's talk about this bass back here. Not a Music Man, although it looks like a Music Man. It is a Sterling by Music Man. So it is a Chinese knockoff, but they did a really good job. This particular bass is called a Ray34, I think, or something like, or 34, a Ray34. I'm sorry, I don't even know what my own basses are. They do make a 24. The difference is the 24 is a 2-band preamp, hence the 2 and 4 string. This is a 34. It's a 3-band preamp on it and 4 strings. So that's why it's called a Ray34. We can look up here at the headstock, and that is roasted maple. It's just a roasted maple neck. It actually does have, I'm going to flip the camera around. There we go. Now I can see what I'm doing. It actually does have a maple board on top of it. So it's a maple neck with a maple board on top. And it is a single pickup. That is a humbucker. And it is configured in parallel. So each row of magnets, or each coil, is running parallel to the preamp. So it's not a series where they run through one another. And as I understand it, I'm not a huge Stingray fan, but I have a story about this bass of why I bought it. I used to have an actual Stingray. I had a 5-string 2H, or 2 pickup, 2 humbuckers, and I never played it much just because I didn't find that tone useful for what I play very often. But a Stingray has a signature sound. So when you need a Stingray, it's nice to have a Stingray. So this particular bass, in fact, I already had a picture of it hanging on my wall for a long time, and it was just a coincidence that I ended up picking up a natural one. But I worked not far from a Guitar Center, and I went down and I was trying out basses. And I tried this one out and it felt really good. And they had it priced for $250. So I did a quick look up on my phone, found out what it was, and that new they sold for about $800, which is a pretty good chunk of change for a Chinese-made instrument. So I looked up used prices, and used they were selling for $400 or $500. So I knew, hey, if I don't like this thing, I can flip it and make money. Apparently, Guitar Center had priced it as a Ray24, which was the 2-band preamp, not the 3-band preamp. And the 24s are a little bit lower tier instrument, not necessarily lower quality, but they just have a few less features besides just the preamp. But this thing really plays good. I took it home, I set it up. It's got a few dents and dings on the back and some cracks in the finish, but you really can't tell. And for $250, I know I could turn around and sell it if I didn't want it. But it has a very unique, punchy sound. I'm not a slapper. If I was, a Music Man is great for slap. Number one, I stink at slap, so that's why I don't like it, because I'm no good at it. If I was a great slapper, I would probably be extolling the virtues of slap bass. But as it stands now, I really don't like listening to slap bass unless it's like Mark King or Victor Wooten. And those are about it. So let me get the bass down off the wall and get it plugged into the rig, and we'll listen to it. Okay, so here we are with the Sterling Stingray. I was incorrect in the early part of the video where I said this bass was made in China. It is made in Indonesia, so it's still an offshore made bass, it's actually not made by Music Man at all. It's a licensed product, even though I think it does say by Music Man. I don't think that they really have anything to do with it. I know that they sell it on their, they sell parts on their website and they market the instruments very, very similar to how Fender does with Squire, or Gibson with Epiphone, or something like that. So perhaps they have more to do with it than I know. But originally these basses were at one point in the past called an OLP, or officially licensed product. But now I think that they're internal. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run through the different the different sounds that you can get using the rig that we covered in the other video. The very first clip is going to be just the JDI, just the raw sound of the bass. Because this bass is active and it has, if I can get it in the shot, it has a preamp in it. It has bass, mid, and treble controls. I will adjust those while I'm playing just so that you can hear what this bass is capable of all by itself with no outside gear at all. Then I'll move on to the Quad Cortex. We'll play a little bit through this Ampeg SVT, and then I'll go down to the Punchline rig and play a little bit through there, just so you can hear what it sounds like with different preamp pedals, with an all digital emulation rig and a regular analog bass preamp. So let me go ahead and get the audio switched over, and we'll take a listen. Okay, so that concludes the playing part. I tried to keep it short because sometimes these videos get pretty long. Sorry about the last clip of the Punchline where I had the tuner pedal on, so it was muted. So I had to kick that off, and there was a little bit of overdrive at the preamp. I had the gain set up a little too high, so that's why you heard some breakup on that clip until I reached over and turned it down. So you kind of understand what this bass is all about. This is not, this is the cheapest instrument that I own. Well, no, I take that back. The Harley Benton fretless is the cheapest instrument I own, but honestly, by the time I bought the Harley Benton and put new tuners on it, it have more money in it than I do in this. For $250, this thing is an absolute stellar bargain. It sounds like a Music Man to me. Like I said earlier, I'm not a huge fan of the Music Man sound. It's kind of thin, but it's very punchy. So in certain songs, especially if you play rock music or if you're a slapper, this is a great instrument. So there are times when I could see myself dragging this out on a gig to play something if I needed to cop a tone. But that is it. That's my Stingray, and I will move on to the next review, which is going to be that guy over there. It's hard to do that in the camera. But anyway, look for that for the review of the Yamaha coming up.